This is Ethan, his lovely wife, Bobby at the back doing sound as well. Hi, welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's weird being up front.
Right? You're normally way back there.
Yeah, I'm usually hiding in the back, so.
Yeah. It was funny when I suggested this to John. I was like, but like I get to interview Ethan, right? I
Yep.
want to interview Ethan. We're friends. And then
Mhm.
he gets to interview his friend next week, Jared. So
Yep.
lucky. I'm so glad. Okay, so tell me, Ethan, tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about you.
Me.
Just you as a human. You as Ethan.
As Ethan.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, the first question is so hard.
I know.
Ethan, where do you live?
Where do I live? I currently live in St. Catharines.
Who are you married to?
My wife, Bobby Lynn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bobby Lynn at the back. Ethan and Bobby do tech and sound here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. I work full time as a engineer for hydraulics. So that's the career I do, and I work in Welland, and I'm trying to think what else. I've lived in this area for now 14 years. I actually originally moved from Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Oof.
So it is cold there. It's true. Winterpeg is a true fact.
Nice.
Yes.
You're stealing the thunder on my next question.
I'm sorry.
Where did you grow up, Ethan?
So I grew up in Winnipeg. Yeah.
Nice.
It was, as I said, it's very cold. We kind of do joke. There's 4 seasons. It is spring, mosquito season, fall, and then winter. So it's
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, it was really good childhood. I can't complain about it. Lived in a really nice neighborhood, really close to one of the main rivers. I have a lot of family that actually lives in Winnipeg still. Most of my family's from there. Yeah.
Nice. Tell me about growing up.
Growing up, okay. So growing up, grew up in a Christian home. Both of my parents were very heavily involved in the church. My dad even more so. He worked for was a board member and also worked at the church we went to for a very long time. And then things just didn't work out between my dad and the church. And we kind of drifted away from the church, from at church being the main church. So we kind of jumped around from church to church for a few years, just trying to figure out, and then what we kind of wanted and what we were, I guess, be as a family. And then eventually we moved here to Ontario. My dad's parents actually live in Stratford, Ontario. So it was for him coming back home. He originally went to Winnipeg for schooling, getting his master's degrees. So he decided that, you know what, time to head back home to Ontario. So yeah, so we moved, and that was an ordeal all on its own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine moving across. Working, yeah. Okay, cool. I can't imagine moving across provinces. It's like you read my mind. I was literally going to ask you, why did you guys come back to Ontario? But you already answered that. It's fantastic.
Partially that, too. There's other reasons. We also, my parents decided they wanted to open an ice cream store. So they did. Yes.
Ice cream?
Yes.
I love ice cream. What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
It's a little difficult, but my normal go-to is a double dark chocolate with raspberries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like that tells a lot. Double dark chocolate with raspberry.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so was there anything noteworthy about your family that like shaped your experience following Christ?
Yeah, I would say being that my family was very dedicated to our faith, you know, they definitely have instilled a lot of things in me. Like, it's not just my dad or my mom, but also my extended family in Winnipeg. We were very close to a lot of my family members, being one of them being my great-grandfather. Great-grandfather. And very strong in faith all the way up to the day he died. And we would spend at least once a week with him and try to really actually spend time with him, understand his wit, and just, yeah, he definitely helped shape who I am, just very strong in faith. And he's went through a lot of tough times, and he somehow bounced out of it, and always positive, always happy. So yeah, that I would definitely say he played a large impact. Mm-hmm.
We found throughout these stories, I don't know if any of you remember, we found throughout these faith stories, there's almost just this legacy of, people living out their faith
Mm-hmm.
and how that shapes how we live out our faith.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a little bit more about your story, so I can see that in your story for sure. When and under what circumstances did you begin to follow Christ and make that choice for yourself? I know what it's like growing up in a Christian home where
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of just exposed to it, and it's expected but not expected, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a decision that we have to make as Christians. So
Yeah.
how did that look for you? What did that look like?
So as I wouldn't say normal Christian kid, but when I was younger, I did, accept Jesus really young, but I didn't really actually fully understand what it meant until I got older. And I would say really I started understanding what it meant and who I had to be and how I had to act until I actually got into university. It's a little ways, but at that time I kind of figured out who I wanted to be, who I didn't want to be, and I also found a really good church that was actually on the campus of university that I went to, and met a lot of good friends and a lot of good people that actually, again, helped shape me a little bit more of who I wanted to be. And at that time, I actually got baptized while I was in university. Partially also met my wife during that time as well. So it just kind of everything lined up really nice. And yeah, it was also the later parts of university, I started realizing how God's path was kind of shaping me in a way, and how he played impacts along the way to get me where I was. And yeah, it made me I felt very fortunate for what was happening. Mm-hmm.
Nice. 'Kay. You ready?
Yep.
What have been some significant moments in life that were pivotal?
Good question.
Could be happy, spiritual, painful.
Yep.
What are you feeling?
So definitely university was one of the big pivotal moments. Just I was going through a lot. I was struggling with lust as a teenage boy, as most teenage boys do, unfortunately. And it was very difficult for me to just get out of a pattern. And with the help of friends and other people that were close to me, we were able to get me at least in a better place. And at that time, I kind of realized that I needed to change, trusting God more. And yeah, so I kind of more dedicated myself to God. And then as I started doing that, I started seeing things get better for me. My grades started getting better. Also, I started having better friends that I actually wanted to be with. And just everything started to blossom better. And got baptized, got more involved in the church I was in, which was a little bit new to me. I've always been partially involved in church, but not heavily involved, just kind of on that, just, a little bit on the outskirts. And then actually, dedicate myself to actually serve at the church regularly and do tech. I've always done sound or some type of tech-based part of the church for many years. So to actually, invest, and I actually became a leader at that church in that area, and it was good. It really, motivated myself to just continually be a better person. So that was one. And then a little more recently as well, before my wife and I came to PFC, we actually went to another church that was part of the first church that was on the campus. They had another church on the Brock campus. And so my wife, she was actually going to Brock at the time, and I just finished university. So I moved back down and started helping out at that church and just tried to help build it up. And during that time, I really got a chance to lead university students. So help them through what I've experienced. And it was a very short time, but we led life groups. We were leading different ministries, just trying to help these students and try to understand. And during that time, it really helped me understand how much someone, discipling other people really matters, and how much of an impact you can have on someone's life, and how much they as well, the person you're discipling, has an impact on your life. So yeah, those were some pretty pivotal moments.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I'm hearing that, the more you invest in your relationship with God, the more life kind of seemed to almost get better, but it doesn't necessarily mean it always gets better.
No.
It just means you maybe have a support system. You started investing in a system that was around you.
Yeah, I definitely would say the more I put, I definitely put more effort into investing into my relationship with God, the better. I wouldn't say it was perfect. There was definitely moments of pain and suffering throughout that time, but it, at the end of it, when I look at it overall, it was a better situation. It turned out for the better at the end of the day. So.
So you've talked a lot about your previous churches and just
Mhm.
being able to jump in there. I obviously see a lot of leadership qualities in you and both you and your wife. What brought you to PFC? Like you were fully invested in these other churches. You were so involved, and you don't have to share everything. Like I know a lot of that story already, but now you're here at PFC. Like how
Mhm.
did you come walking into this building?
So Bobby and Lynn and I both know Pastor John very well. We, how do I put it this way? So Bobby actually lived in John's house. She was in school, so she rented from there. And I'm sorry, Lindsay, but Lindsay was my high school teacher. Yeah. So, not trying to age them too much, but
Were you bad in high school? Why do
no,
you say sorry?
because it's making her sound older than she actually
Oh
is.
yeah, that's true. I get that. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
She's not that old. But yes, she was my high school teacher. John was Bobby's actually youth pastor and lived at their house while she went to Brock. So I was actually at their house quite often when we were dating. So we also both liked how John preached and all that, and just found him to, I guess, more of his theology and all, yeah, more of his theology we agreed with. And when we found out that he was leading, was coming here, we came for the first service that he came just to support him. Was really, welcomed and enjoyed the experience, and we're like, wow, like this is a church we would want to come to if we weren't, already committed at our other church. So it just, we felt like family right away, and we're like, okay, this is a really nice church. It's a nice environment. We do prefer smaller churches rather than big ones in general, anyways. So that kind of John kind of led us to PFC, and then after time, we eventually did leave the church we were going to, and we were kind of, again, Bobby and I were jumping around from church to church, kind of decide where we wanted to dedicate our time, and this became the place.
You caught the PFC bug.
I did.
Nice. Yeah, it seems I remember my first time coming into this church too. Like it is that warm, welcoming, everyone wants to come and invite you into this space. And so we love really well here. And so
Yep.
I'm glad you came.
And it was the last time there was a potluck here.
So what you're saying is we need to bring potlucks back.
Yes.
One day, my friend.
I know. One day.
One day.
There's so much good food.
So much good food. It's so yummy. We eat well here. For those of you who don't know, we used to do potlucks. What was it? The first Sunday of every month was a potluck, and it was just a standard. Through COVID, we've had to kind of stop that, and eventually we will get back to that regular rhythm. But we knew we ate well on that first Sunday of every month. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was delicious. I can't believe you made it in for a potluck.
Yeah.
You are lucky.
I know.
Yeah, you're just reminiscing. He's just waiting for another one.
I'm remembering the pies and everything.
Yes. So yum. So delicious. Well, we're so glad that you guys ended up staying, and,
Mhm.
and we appreciate. I, as the music director, really appreciate you and Bobby being here and being involved in tech and sound. But then also just as a young person, I have friends here. I've made some really good friends in you guys for sure. Okay, so you're here, you're in the church, you're getting involved in tech, you're getting involved in sound. You're our tiny little college and career group. We're getting involved, we're making relationships. How did you come to serving as a board member? How did God call you into that role and into the ministry place that you're in now here at PFC?
So for the ministry part, it's a little easy because I've always been doing tech when I've been in church. So it's like it's a good starting point for me. It was good, I'm comfortable with it. I'm a person that likes to be comfortable. I don't like this is not comfortable for me whatsoever.
You don't like being up here at
No.
all.
I do not. I hide in the back and I'm good there.
I couldn't tell by your leg crossed
Yep.
and I'm just gonna.
But yeah, so it was a good starting point for me. Just it was an easy way for me to know like I'm good at this or good enough that it would allow me to start serving. And you know, it's a I have had a long time doing sound or lights or whatever. So it's an easy way, to be involved and just get my foot in the door, get myself, get to know people, and you learn very quickly in this church. You get to people's names and who they are and all that. So it was just a good starting point. Yep. And then with the board, honestly, I wasn't totally thinking of it, but I was asked and I was approached, and I thought about it a lot and hard, and then I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It didn't scare me too much, which was good. I don't mind being in the background, so being part of the board, you're a little more in the background, and yeah, it was something that I was more or less excited to take on the challenge as well. It's as an engineer, I deal with challenges every day, so I'm willing to take on a new one if I can. So yeah, it was something that excited me to do.
You mean Bobby Joe wasn't too imitating?
No.
No.
No, she wasn't that scary when she interviewed me.
No.
No.
Nice. Yeah, she's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you as part of our board. You get to bring a new, fresh perspective. As someone who's coming from the outside, recently coming in, you bring just this new perspective into the board life, but also your experiences and the things that you've lived through. Like, you are bringing in opinions and thoughts that matter, and so we're thankful that you were able to and willing to step into that role. You may have been asked, but we know that God can use you in some pretty incredible ways here at PFC. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for taking the hot seat.
Thank you. Well, no problem.
Yeah. I know it's fine. You're uncomfortable. It's okay. I am very comfortable with attention, so I've no issues with that. I do, as we just close up this section. You've mentioned several times, and I've mentioned, you're married to Bobby, and she's lovely. And so we're thankful that you both are a part of our church community, a part of our church family. And so as just a closing of this time, I'm going to invite Bobby to come on up, and we're going to pray for both of you as a couple and as members of our church and as board. So you may be on the board, but, she's the one supporting you in that. And I'm sure when you come home from board meetings, you need someone to talk to, and Bobby's that person, and someone to bounce ideas off of. So, if Bobby can come up, and then Bobby Joe's actually going to pray for you two together as we close off, and then the worship team will come up and sing.
Okay.